Hello, my name's Sam, you're watching my channel Sew That Sparkle with Sam, and this is my Sewing Bee episode 3. If you haven't watched yet, you know what to do. So, my name's Sam and I've got my lovely Star Wars notebook at the ready, and we're going to go through episode 3 of the Sewing Bee. So this week was holiday week, so I hope you're all in the mood for a holiday, and because it's holiday week I thought I would don my tablecloth top because it was the first challenge. And I thought, and as I was watching I was thinking, oh, I've got one of those in my wardrobe. Now, the pattern that I used is a Sew Love pattern, and it's called the Whitcomb top. I'll put all the details below if anyone wants to have a look at it. And it's kind of like a nice kind of puffball sleeved top, and then you can make the most of all of the embroidery designs of your said tablecloth. I bought mine from a local charity shop. I will put a video of me wearing it so you can kind of see the full ensemble, because it's one of those tops that doesn't really do its best sitting down. Looks much better when you give it a twirl. So as I said, I've got my Star Wars notebook at the ready, and we're all ready to go for the pattern challenge. So as I said, the pattern challenge was to make a recycled tablecloth top, and the pattern once again is from the Back to Basics book, and it is this one, the upcycled linen blouse, and that's what they were making. And yeah, and it was a fabulous challenge actually. I really enjoyed this pattern challenge. It was almost like a little bit of a zero waste kind of challenge as well, because they were given the tablecloths that they could choose from, and they had to really think about what they chose to make the most of all of the different bits of embroidery. They had 2.5 hours for this challenge, so not the longest time. 2.5 hours to make a top. I guess it's just about doable, but you know, no time for slip-ups. So they all had a really good go at their tablecloth blouses, and we had all sorts of different arrays of lovely blouses. So one of the things that came out of the pattern challenge when they were chatting to all of the contestants was a lovely little story of Susie's, and I thought I'd just share that with you because it really made my heart sing. So Susie's engagement story, so cute. So they planned, her and her partner planned a trip to New York to a famous fabric shop. I can only hazard a guess at what it might be, and they were obviously in on it, and her husband had arranged, well, her fiance had arranged for the fabric to be planned, and it said, "Will you marry me?" Oh, and then she turned around and he was on his knee, and oh, so cute, very lovely. Anyway, I digress. Back to the pattern challenge. So yeah, they all had, I think they could choose 2 tablecloths, and I think that this time they must have been allowed to use fabric from the haberdashery, because one of the contestants did, although I have to say I'm not entirely sure that that was the best idea. And I do think that the contestants now are on week 3. They need to know they need to stick to the brief. I think that's really important, and it's becoming really clear where they end up, that if they stick to the brief, you know, they're more at the top of the pile, and if they don't, they're definitely closer to the bottom. So yeah, they all kind of had their own little takes on their styles. A couple that that made me laugh out loud was Georgie. She said that she had kind of booby shapes, round shapes on her tablecloth, and I have to say I had the same issue when I was choosing this, when I had this tablecloth, because it does, you know, you have to be careful where you place big round patterns, but I thought she did a really good job of it because it was quite high up. Their pattern was kind of a bit of a V-neck, so they had like a top yoke section, and then the bottom section, hopefully you'll see a picture of the one that they were to replicate. The thing with George's though is that she didn't choose 2 white tablecloths. She chose a white tablecloth and a cream tablecloth, and it did clash. It didn't look quite as pleasing as some of the others. Marcus didn't get finished, and Pasha's was a little bit plain, and I think that Patrick used the word medical scrubs. So, I mean, that's not a good look, is it? So, and once it was said, I couldn't unsee it, and it did actually look like a scrub top. Janet, hers was a very exposing top. She had like quite mesh panels in hers, and also she decided to use other fabric, and I understand why she did what she did, because she said she didn't want to cut into a beautiful tablecloth when she was only going to use a small panel of it. And I get that, you know, let's not waste fabric, but again, you're in a sewing competition and you need to listen to the brief. That's what they asked you to do, that's what they wanted you to do. So yeah, I thought that was it just wasn't what they were asking for. And also, it wasn't one of my favourite kind of styles of tops, because she'd done just a big blank panel in the back. And in my mind, the fabric that she used didn't quite go either. So it was a combination of things that didn't quite do it right for me. One of the things that they had to do was bind the neckline and use it as a facing. So obviously, if you're going to use it as a facing, it needs to be on the inside. I did the neckline on mine, and as you can see, you can't see it from the outside. It's got little cherries on it. I don't know if you see, but obviously, but it does keep it all nice and neat and tidy. Some of them didn't interpret that quite right. Some of them did beautiful jobs, but you could see the binding, and that's not what they asked for. As I said, it didn't look terrible, because actually seeing the binding can be nice, but again, it's a pattern challenge and you have to follow the instructions. So the facing was not to be shown. Don, bless him, he had a little, he had a bit of a funny time. He had misread the instructions for the sleeves, so I think he was expecting he was making longer sleeves, but it was actually a shorter sleeve, so he just cut it the wrong way, and then when he put it together, he ended up with like long narrow sleeves rather than short fuller sleeves. I mean, he managed to get it together, but it just didn't look right, and it certainly wasn't what the pattern had asked for. So in that pattern challenge, it was as follows. Unfortunately, Don was 10th, Marcus was 9th, Janet was 8th, Susie was 7th, 6th was Lauren, 5th was Pasha, 4 was Georgie, 3 was Alex, and there was no second place because they chose joint first, which I thought was definitely correct. So first was Elsa and Luke. Luke's blouse was fabulous. They chose to kind of really use the embroidery in an asymmetric way, with like the colours were opposites, and then the patterns were opposites, made, and it was very well finished. Yeah, beautifully made. And then Elsa's, again, she just really thought about where she was using all of her pattern placement, where all of the embroidery was, and made a really pretty blouse. And I have to say, I did agree with that decision to have a joint first place, because I would have found it really difficult to split between those two. Those two were really beautiful finished blouses. So next on was the transformation challenge. I quite enjoyed this challenge because I do like making bags. So they had lots of kind of nautical gubbins, paraphernalia, whatever you want to call it. Lots of waterproofs, waders I saw, ropes, pulleys, carabiners, fishing nets, all sorts of fishing gubbins, as I said. And they had to make a bag. Now, they were told that they must use rope. Esme was quite clear, you must use rope. And I have to say, as an overall, as a team, I thought they were all really inventive, generally, with one or two exceptions. But I really enjoyed how inventive they were and how creative they were in the time. So Lauren, she really, when she was told to play with rope, she really hit the brief. She plaited her rope, she played with her rope on the front of her bag. Her bag had kind of jaunty kind of wave effects with her rope, which was very nice. Luke, I thought theirs was kind of like holiday, but holiday activity bag. You know, it was an action bag with whistles, you know, all of the bells and whistles. Literally, it had a whistle, ropes, different kind of interesting ways of fastenings, really good use of the fabrics. And it would definitely be a bag that I, you know, if I was going on a hiking holiday or something like that, it's definitely a bag that I would have taken along, would have been really handy. Alex was a fabulous idea, and it reminded me a little bit. I make the noodle head bag, which is the buckthorn tote and rucksack together, and it kind of gave me those vibes a little bit. And the way that she'd used her rope was really clever. Was a little kind of net pocket, and when I was watching along with my husband last night, it's what I said. I said, oh, if you had like fishing net rope, I'd use that for a pocket, because that's great in the beach, because all of the sand would go through it. And that's exactly what her thought was. So we had great mind moment at that point. I love Georgie's idea. Georgie made a little coil, like a coil rope purse that she popped. So she made two kind of coasters, if you like, out of the rope, and then sewed them together with a zip in to make a little coin purse. And the idea was that that went inside the bag, and it was secured inside the bag, so it's a bit of a safety feature. Because I don't know about you, when you go on holiday, security is something you kind of have to think about. If you're going to a place that you don't know and you might not feel totally safe, having something in your bag, you know, that feels secure. So that was nice that she thought like that. And then it was in quite a simple tote, but simple but well made. Janet made a very simple kind of like pea bag, boot bag type style bag, and it, I mean, she used the rope, but it was just, she used the rope just for a cord, and it was far too long. And it was quite funny because Esme put it on and it pretty much, you know, touched the ground. So it was a bag, but I don't think it was particularly practical. Pasha's was my favourite just because it was a duck bag. It was a bag made for a child. It was in the shape of a duck. She went full on. She was like, if it's going to look like a duck, I'm going to give it a face. And I thought it was quite fabulous, because that's the whole point of the transformation challenge, isn't it? Use what you've got. So if what you've got looks like a duck, make a duck bag. Fabulous. Loved that idea. Elsa's was more of like a holiday day bag. It wasn't you know, like a handbag, something that you would keep your euros and your passport in, not much more than that. But it was very cleverly designed, and the way it kind of all cinched together, I really liked. Susie's for me, I found it a bit difficult to get what she was getting at until Esme kind of held it, and then I kind of got it. So she used the fishing net hoop to make her bag. So it was like one of those big oversized hoop handbags, not particularly my style. And I think that's probably why it took me a little while to get it, because I wasn't quite sure where Susie was going with it. But she used the rope to add as tassels. And Esme really enjoyed the bag. So, you know, maybe not for me, but it was a nice kind of take on a bag. Marcus, I think he struggled with this challenge a little bit. His drawstring didn't work, so he ended up with just a bit of rope hanging out of his bag, and it was quite a simple bag. So yeah, it was a bag. It had a handle, but it didn't quite work. And then Don, I thought he was really clever, because he actually used, his main fabric was like a zip up wader jacket. So he used the zip for his fastenings for his bag, which meant that, you know, that takes quite a lot of work out. If you haven't got to put a zip in a bag and you've got that closure, because it's already all in for you, that's quite good on time management. And the way it kind of came together with all the ropes and the carabiners, it looked like quite a nice technical bag. So I enjoyed that bag. I think that the judges thought it was a bit too simple, but I actually enjoyed it. So this is how they placed. In 10th place was Janet, 9th was Marcus, 8th was Don, 7th was Lauren, 6th was Susie, 5th was Pasha with the duck bag, 4th was Georgie, 3rd was Elsa, 2nd was Luke, and 1st was Alex. So, you know, Elsa and Luke are still at the top there. So Elsa and Luke was doing, you know, they were on fire going into the Made to Measure challenge. So the Made to Measure challenge, they had 4 hours to make a holiday outfit. No, I apologise, a holiday garment, and this is really important. So it was inspired by the French Riviera, and it was very, very clear that it had to be a garment. It did not have to be an outfit. Now, a lot of the contestants did make an outfit, and I think that was something that they really needed to think about. They only had to make a garment. Now, a couple of the things that Esme talked about is that she wanted it to be kind of inspire glamour, nostalgia, and it needed to be chic, and it needed to be a garment, a wearable garment. Now, the great thing about this challenge was the lovely Amber was back, and I love Amber always does the little kind of historical fashion bits in the Sewing Bee. She's not always there in the early weeks because I think there's just too many contestants and there's not enough time, doesn't get through anything, but she was back and she told us all about like beach summer wear and where the beach pajamas kind of came from, and I really enjoyed that because I just love her. She's so much fun. Yeah, so that was good. I digress. I apologise. I just really enjoyed it, and if you don't get to see this series, it's worth watching previous series of the Sewing Bee just so you get to go and see Amber, and she'll tell you lots of fashion history. So let's get on to the Made to Measures. So they all get to practice this, and Lauren definitely, she had a real idea in her head, and bless her. I found Lauren a little bit difficult to watch this week because I have a teaching background, and she reminds me of particular children that have been in my class, you know, the ones that can't sit still. And she was really excited about this challenge, and it was infectious and it was glorious, but she was so giggly and clearly very confident in exactly what she wanted to do. So she had like this chic kind of chiffon trouser idea, but obviously she couldn't have chiffon in the crotch area because it's see-through. So she, I think it may have been a bit of a lycra or some kind of cotton jersey kind of pant, and then it kind of like billowed out into these amazing chiffon floaty skirty trouser thing. Hopefully you're seeing pictures because that description was awful. Now, if you can call it a top, she made a top with it. It was more of a bra. And I think Patrick used the word punchy. I mean, it would have turned heads. And it's definitely, her model looked fantastic in it and was very comfortable and confident in it. Yeah, that was Lauren's. Alex, I think, was very clever in this challenge because she stuck to the brief. It said a garment, she made a garment, she made a jumpsuit. I think she thought very carefully that, you know, I've got to make a garment, but I've got to make it look good on the model. So a jumpsuit is great because it's all in one piece. We don't need to talk about how difficult it is to go to the toilet in a jumpsuit. We all know. But, you know, it's a great garment to wear because it's an all-in-one. You know exactly what you're wearing. You know exactly what you're going to look like. Pop on the jumpsuit. And it definitely gave beachy vibes, holiday vibes, because it looked a little bit like a green and white deck chair, but it was beautiful. Lovely tie tops. Yeah, I thought it looked really nice. And I have to say it was up there in my top 5. Excuse me. There was a little bit of mention that it looked like clown trousers. I didn't think it looked like clown trousers at all. I mean, they were wide, but I think it looked absolutely stunning. And then there was Elsa. Now Elsa was very clear that she wanted to make supersized trousers, and that's all she wanted to make because she wanted to do a really good job on them. And I think I've probably got a pattern for a similar pair of trousers. I think it might be a new look pattern that I have in my stash. And it was like a pleated, it was all pleated and darted, all pleated at the front and darted at the back for like a real fitted booty area, and then a lovely floaty pleated area at the front. So it kind of gave, and they were super wide. I think she said it was a 29-inch waist and she used 3.5 meters of fabric. So that is a lot of fabric for a pair of trousers. But I have to say, they look stunning. It was like a creamy white linen, and I could just, you know, and they were definitely something I would wear as a pair of holiday trousers. They did look beautiful, kind of like a palazzo pants idea. Very, very stunning. Luke decided to go, I think their main piece was meant to be the linen trousers, but they wanted to kind of have a whole outfit. So they had linen trousers and a white shirt. They actually said that they can throw out, I think the words were, I can throw out a shirt in an hour. So kudos. I can't. A shirt takes me about 5 days. So that was fabulous. But there was a few comments about the fact that maybe they gave themselves a bit too much to do, and if they had concentrated a little more on either one of the garments, then that may have been a better use of their time. But I have to say, the outfit for me looked great. I think one of the comments was that the collar was a little bit big. I actually like a big collar on a shirt. I think an oversized collar on that kind of like holiday shirt looks very nice. But I have to agree on the fit of the trousers. I don't think it was the best fit on the model of the trousers. But as I said, if you can get a trouser and a shirt out in 4 hours, 4.5 hours, then, you know, kudos. Then on to Pasha's. So Pasha again decided to make trousers, but she made a top to match, and the top, I think I'll use Esme's words, bit of a mess. But the trousers were beautiful. Again, definitely something that I would want to wear. They were a lovely navy blue, kind of sailor inspired trousers with little silver buttons on. Oh, they were beautiful. Really lovely, and the fit was spot on. And you could tell in her processes that she had tried it on her model a couple of times and really worked on that fit, which is why she was left with not enough time to make a top. So, and I think this is the thing, you know, when people are very harsh on Sewing Bee by saying, oh, they don't give them enough time. Well, no, they didn't give them enough time to make an entire outfit, but they didn't ask them to make an entire outfit. They asked them to make a garment. So one garment. So if you had, you know, there is an argument to say that if they hadn't tried to impress, then they would have had enough time. Does that make sense? I hope so. So Janet's, she made like a cocktail inspired twin set. And again, when I saw her fabric choices, gorgeous, you know, cocktail, yes please. Bright neon colours, yes please. French Riviera, maybe not. I didn't think that her kind of fabric choice was right for the challenge, but it had Janet written all over it, and you know, she loved it. She had a bit of a buttonhole mishap. In fact, she had quite a few buttonhole mishaps, and I think I've spoken about the buttonholes on the Genoma machines that they used in the Sewing Bee before. They can be a bit of a challenge, and it's not something, the machine does not like to be rushed. So yeah, so I think that is definitely a challenge that they all face in the workshop, but Janet obviously just didn't give herself quite enough time to get that completed. And then there was Don. Now Don, he talked about the fact that he kind of drafted his own trousers because he just omits the side seams, and so I think he must just lay them all out as one pattern piece, maybe cutting on the fold, or maybe just makes a... But I did think, well, actually side seams are quite nice on trousers if you want pockets in them, in the side seams. But I guess if you don't, then you don't need the side seams. And they were like a blue and yellow kind of sunflower design. They were very pretty. I thought they were very nice. And they showed a picture of his wife wearing a pair that he'd made for her. Oh my goodness, she looked absolutely amazing in them. So well done, Don. Fantastic trousers. And again, he decided to make a top and ran out of time. So I think that was a little bit of a theme to this challenge. And then there was Marcus. Marcus had made like a ruffle top and skirt. I thought he did a really, really good job on his outfit. The ruffle top he'd practiced before, making one for his wife. That was cute. And then it was like a yellow crepey fabric with lots and lots of pleats that went kind of down at an angle. The one thing I will say is that his hem was, not the best. It wasn't the tidiest. But again, if you're going to hem a skirt like that in the time, don't make a top. Just make a skirt. And then he would have had plenty of time to kind of really perfect that skirt. Susie's. I wasn't too sure about what Susie was making until she made it. I found it, I think they were more focusing on the fact that her fabrics were recycled and she got them from a charity shop, which I thought was great. But it wasn't until the outfit kind of came together that I understood what she was going for. But the skirt was gorgeous. It was kind of like dotty fabric, and then she'd fringed the bottom of the skirt. So it's a little bit like the panelled skirt that they'd made at the beginning, the denim one, but without the buttons down the front. So it was panelled and then fringed at the bottom. And then the top that she made, again, ran out of time. It was unfinished. It didn't fit the model, and you could see the lining. So it wasn't fabulous. She did actually say, I'm going to just say this because I think Susie's a bit hard on herself. Susie said it was the worst top she ever made. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. It just wasn't finished. If she'd have had time to finish it, I think it would have been a very beautiful top. So yeah, don't be too hard on yourself, Susie. It's fine. You can do it. You got this, girl. And then there was Georgie, who made a bias cut satin skirt, and she'd obviously practiced it because she was wearing one. And I have to say, the one she was wearing was in a beautiful colour. If they are all making, garments for other people, Georgie, I'll have one of those skirts. Absolutely gorgeous. And then it was like a crochet laced top, and I was willing her to get that finished because I have to say, as much as I love the skirt, I really loved the idea of the top as well. So I really, really wanted that to be finished, but unfortunately she didn't get quite time to get that finished. But her idea on it was beach to bar. So they did mention it wasn't necessarily French Riviera, but it was definitely Georgie on holiday, going from beach to bar outfit, and I thought it was stunning. It did what it said on the tin. It was a beach to bar outfit. So that was the made to measure challenge. And of course, every week someone gets garment of the week and someone has to go home. This week it was Elsa with garment of the week, and it was quite clear it was going to be Elsa because both Patrick and Esme adored Elsa's garment, her palazzo pants trousers, and they both requested her to make them for them. And Elsa was clearly delighted because I think she's had a bit of a slow starter, but I can definitely see her. I think she's going to blossom. Really enjoyed watching, I've really enjoyed watching Elsa's journey over the last couple of weeks. And then going home, sadly, was Janet. And I've loved watching Janet. Janet's kind of enthusiasm has been contagious. It's been great. But I think that, she'd had a tough week. So it was time for Janet to go home. I'm really looking forward to next week because it is the reuse, recycle week of Sewing Bee. And I have really enjoyed that in the past. So I hope you can join me again next week. I do just want to say a few thank yous. Thank you to everyone that's reached out to me and told me how much you're enjoying these little kind of synopsis vlogs. I really appreciate that. It makes me really happy, and I'm really happy to do them. And thank you to those of you that have gone down below and that have bought me a coffee, or kind of done a little Just Giving page and donated to my friend Emma. And yeah, so thanks ever so much for all of the love and support, and I will see you here next week. Don't forget to sparkle. See you soon. Bye for now.